everyone, welcome back to Lanson's channel. Continuing the main storyline of my journey. In the previous episode, I start a solo road trip along the coastal regions of Turkey. On the first night, I stayed in a town called Selçuk, which is close to Ephesus. At the motel, I met a Taiwanese exchange student who came to Turkey for her studies. The next day, we decided to travel together and explore the nearby historical sites. The main reason I rented a car was for the convenience of traveling between attractions. When relying on public transportation, sometimes you have to wait for an hour, which wastes a lot of time. The Taiwanese girl was a university student and not financially well off, so she chose to travel by public transportation. As an older traveler, I understood her situation, so I offered her a ride to the attractions and saved her a lot of time. I slept in the best room at the motel that night, while she slept in a dormitory room. Although our material conditions are different, our minds are equal. I found out that before she started her journey, she had done a lot of research about the historical background of this region. She was incredibly knowledgeable about the historical information and could recite it precisely. I appreciated this aspect of her. Since most people who travel today, they just get on and off the bus, take some photos and post it on social media, there are very few people who actually pay attention to the historical knowledge itself. So, meeting someone with similar mindsets and inviting her to travel together was a rewarding decision. Today's itinerary, the first stop was the Temple of Artemis, which is the original version of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, alongside with the Egyptian pyramids and the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. However, nowadays, it has become a very lesser-known attraction. Hardly anyone visits, and there is no entrance fee or fenced area. Only a few locals trying to make a living by selling fake ancient coins. This monument has actually been built and destroyed 3 times. The first time was in the 7th century BC when it was destroyed by a flood. The second time was in 356 BC when it was burned down by a large fire. After the second destruction, the people of Ephesus funded its reconstruction for the 3rd time. That horse looking so handsome. At ancient times, celebrities, historians, and travelers made this list of 7 wonders of a lifetime. This is how it obtained its title. From this, it seems that as early as BC, people already fond of creating such must-do lists. This immediately made me feel a sense of closeness to the ancient people. After the 3rd destruction, it gradually disappeared, with the decline of the city of Ephesus, until 1869 when an expedition sponsored by the British Museum rediscovered the ruins of this temple. Then, 6 years of excavation work revealed some fragments, debris, and artifacts of this site, which are now displayed in the Ephesus Archaeological Museum that I visited yesterday. Inside, there is a sculpture of the goddess Artemis, which is very distinctive. Her appearance includes multiple boobs, which are unique and cannot be found elsewhere. At a glance, you can recognize that it is something exclusive to this place. In the past, during the ancient Roman era, both sides of the Aegean Sea belonged to the same country. Exactly, it feels like a pool in ancient times. The dog of the Artemis Temple is guarding here. Let's take a look. It used to be quite large. Look at how small a person is. It's a pity that there is nothing left now. This picture feels like there is more than what remains today. It's from 1987. After 30 years, even these stones are gone.
Hello.
Christians hid here a long time ago to escape the persecution by ancient Rome. They lived inside for over 200 years. Then, after more than 200 years, they came out and discovered that the Roman world had already embraced Christianity, and their people were everywhere. They realized it was a new world. We have similar story like this in Chinese culture. Do you think this story could be made up? It's possible to find traces of human habitation in this cave. Yes, that's right. If there are relics, it can prove that people lived there. There were also murals. If there are murals, then it's very real. Let's see if we can go in. Looks like we can. We visited a few small attractions that my girl suggested to go one more Christian's historical site. She said her parents were Christians, so she wanted to see these attractions on behalf of her mother. Because there are many important events in the Bible that happened in these places. How can I say no to her filial piety reason? Therefore, let's go. You see, even though I don't believe in Christianity, it doesn't prevent us doing this with pleasure. On the other hand, when I post this same video on Chinese version YouTube, I immediately got attacked by the narrow-minded Chinese nationalists in the comment sections. They denounce everything as fake and fabricated, especially in front of almost all Western historical sites. They will arrogantly look down on others as superstitious in all religious-related sites. They just hold this kind of attitude, thinking, the ideology Chinese believe in is the best, and everything others believe in is rubbish. They are so arrogant and ignorant since even in Chinese traditional culture they worship gods and Buddhas. Tons of elderly Chinese people, maybe including their parents, believe in Guanyin, Buddha, astrology, fortune-telling, and the 5 elements Chinese mythological legends like Nuwa and Fuxi. The reason behind this is that young Chinese people have been influenced by the overwhelming propaganda of hating the West created by the CCP. When they criticize every other cultures and history, they end up belittling every country and losing all the friends. The recent Turkish elections have produced results. Erdogan ultimately won, didn't he? Suddenly, a bunch of conservative young Chinese flooded into my comments section, celebrating. They said things like, "You've been proven wrong. Apologize and admit your mistake." I want to comment on this phenomenon. First, let's look at a graph. It's very clear from the graph that 52% of the people support Erdogan. Most of them are concentrated in the inland areas. On the other hand, people in the coastal and developed provinces almost entirely voted for the Liberal Alliance, accounting for 48%. So why did they lose? The main reason is that the total population of the developed coastal liberals is fewer than that of the conservative inland regions. This is a very common characteristic globally. The more conservative, backward, and poor a place is, the higher the birth rate tends to be. Therefore, in the comment section, we often see Chinese populists make jokes like, "Black people and Muslims who immigrate to Europe and America will conquer Europe by relying on newborn babies."
Okay.
I think these jokes are highly inappropriate. And it's not just Turkey, many countries have the characteristic of coastal liberals and inland conservatives. The United States, Thailand, and even China itself are like this. In many issues, if you initiate a vote, you will see that people living on the coast tend to choose A, while those in the inland regions tend to choose B. But those conservative Chinese in the comments section ignore these basic demographic, geographic, and social patterns. They say things like, the whole country has only one correct ideology. That's basically bullshit. It's a kind of poisoning propaganda that insults the intelligence of normal people. The idea of my previous 2 videos was not trying to predict whether Erdogan would win or not. I was simply describing this social reality in Turkey. And to point out that if you want a country to progress, the only way is for more and more people to join the coastal, to join the atmosphere of freedom. So, the result of the Turkish people's vote is 52:48. We can roughly understand it as: currently, Turkish society has reached a critical point regarding the threshold between conservatism and progress. If they take one step forward, we will join the trend of openness and progress. And the ideas of openness and progress will prevail. The country will become better and better. But if they take a step back and let the conservative interest groups take the lead, I don't need to explain what that would look like. There are many Middle Eastern countries that adhere to fundamentalism. We can take them as examples. But this is just a simple logic and truth. The group of conservative Chinese in the comments section seems unable to understand this at all. They think that Erdogan won with 52%, which means he win it all, everybody have to kneel down. This kind of mentality truly reflects the deep influence of the dictatorship thinking that China has for the past 2,000 years. They completely fail to understand that in today's society, 51% of people agree, which means 49% have the right to disagree. Because inside China and North Korea, there are too many votes which are 99.9% of people agree, so their brains have been washed. They think that the whole world is like this. Young Chinese people who hold such ideas, I think they completely fail to understand how the outside world functioned. That's why I always include extensive discussions on sociology in my travel videos. I wish one day they can wake up.
其实来这一个的话，别的不太需要去。你看那些小碎石头，跟刚才那个看着差不多。
我觉得会有点审美疲乏，就是都是这个东西。
在这里挖出来，
对，
然后搬到博物馆去。
那有两个，因为两个。这是日常泡澡。
哇，前面很壮观。
那就是那个最有名的。
对对。我很想，就如果放个飞机一路飞过去就很帅，不让放。但这个城市好像比我们很多现代的城市都要豪华，用了这么多大理石。他是什么神？
爱马仕 ，Hermes。
Nice to see you again.
You see that it was worth coming.
Yeah,
yes,
yes, really, yeah.
And we are very lucky with the weather as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
里面是什么？ 懒得保养了，可能夏天就会开。
我也觉得。